Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be looking at a couple of new products that I'm pretty excited about. We have the new Christian Dior highlighters. I purchased 4 of them. There are 3 different finishes, so I did get at least one from each finish. And then the new Chanel Rouge Coco lipsticks. So these aren't available online yet. They are available in boutiques, but they are a permanent line. They're coming. So they will be online in March. And I purchased 8 of the shades. So I have to say, I'm really enjoying them. I've been testing them out for a week now. And just a little disclaimer, I have a tiny bit of irritation around my lips. It's from doing a ton of lip swatches, and I had a little bit of a reaction to something I was testing out yesterday. It's not from the lipsticks. So I just wanted to give you a heads up in case you notice I do have some irritation around my lips there. So let's go ahead. We're going to start off with the highlighters. So let's start off with the packaging here. You can see that you have kind of that, it's the silvery cushion kind of packaging here and our CD logo. It is refillable. We do have a spot to punch out the refill. And then you open this up, just a little lip here, and it's a click closure. So out of the 4 shades, this one here is number 3, Pink Halo. So the halo finish is one of our 3 finishes. So let's take a look at this one here, and you can see this. This is a really pretty soft satin pink, and the pink itself is, you know, it's not cool, it's not warm. It's a pretty neutral pink, but it's going to be very soft, and it's a really beautiful shade. It reminds me a lot of one of my all-time favorite highlighters. We'll take a look at that in the comparisons. Then we have number 4, Pink Strobe. And this one has a bit of a color shift. So the strobe ones do have a little bit of a shift. So here is Pink Strobe. You can see this is going to be a brighter pink. It's actually more of a cool pink base, but we have a gold shimmer in it, a gold flip. So we've got warmth and cool tones kind of mixed together in that one. And then this is number 5, Blue Strobe. I had to try the blue highlighter. I was so excited about this. So here is Blue Strobe. And again, we've got a little bit of iridescence with this. So you can see it's blue, and you occasionally get a touch of more of a lilac-y purple kind of flip to it. I think it's a really pretty color. And, you know, I'm actually wearing the highlighters on my eyes today as well. So we'll see that in the demo. And then the last one I picked up, this one is more of the glitter finish. This is 6 Opal Sequin, but I have to say I almost didn't get this because I wasn't super interested in a very glittery highlighter, but this one's actually pretty special. So I'm very glad I picked it up. So you can see our difference here. The halo is going to be more subtle. Your strobe is going to have a little bit of a color shift, and then the sequin formulas are going to have more glitter pieces in there. So let's take a look at these on the demos. These are called the Dior Forever Glow Luminizers, and we have 6 grams of product. There's a 1-year shelf life on these, and they are made in France. Now, according to Dior, it says Dior Forever Glow Luminizer Powder has 3 new finishes that reflect light from every angle. Halo for a crystal glow, Strobe for a duochrome shimmer, and Sequin for an iridescent lit from within radiance. The unique gel-based formula is concentrated in shimmering pearlescent micropigments that blend seamlessly and diffuses light in its purest intensity. These are infused with hyaluronic acid to help keep skin hydrated, and there are 7 shades. And a luminizing powder that snaps into a silver couture case adorned with the house's signature CD initials. These retail for $52 US. And I have to say, I'm actually really liking these highlighters. I wasn't sure, you know, how much I'd like them. Some of my favorite highlighters that are pretty current would be the more recent Tom Ford holiday ones. They were from like holiday 2023. They came out with one for the summer last year as well. You know, the ones in the little white packaging, we'll take a look at those for some comparisons. But I love that because it can be subtle, it can be built up. Dior ones in the past that I've tried, you know, they've been hit or miss. Sometimes they're very glittery and you don't expect it and so forth. I have to say, I'm super pleased with the way that they have done this. I love the fact that we have 3 different finishes. So you're accommodating a variety of different desires for the highlighter and different purposes for them as well. You've got a pretty broad range of 7 shades. We've got cooler shades, warmer shades, neutral shades. So I think that's great. And I think that the formula here actually works really well. So this, even the more glittery one, the opal sequin, you don't really have, a ton of fallout or anything with the sparkle. And well, you know what? Let's start from the beginning. Let's start with the pink halo. The pink halo is going to be the most subtle of the highlighters I purchased. Your halo finish in general is more of a satin highlight. So if you're looking for something that's going to be a little bit more subtle, you get a little bit of glint, but nothing major, I think the halo finish is for you. And what I really like about the pink halo in particular is this pink it really kind of blends in more with my skin tone, so that I just get a little bit of radiance when it hits the light, but I'm not seeing color per se. It really looks a lot more natural. Now, the strobe highlighters, those are going to have a little bit, they're calling it duochrome. Really, it's mostly because your shimmer is a different color from your base. So in the pink strobe, we have more of a cooler, brighter pink. It's going to be a medium cool pink base, but then we have golden shimmer in there. Now, it's not going to be like a glittery gold. You're not seeing pieces of glitter. It's really just very, very finely milled, kind of almost like a golden top coat on it. And when the light hits, you get a little bit of a color shift. Again, you can put this on more subtly or build this up. And as you're looking at all these demos, you can see I'm starting with the Sonia G Detail Pro for a lighter application. There's no blush on my face. It's just my Cle de Peau foundation and Koh Gen Do powder. And we're building it up a bit more with the Refer Holiday Bee brush from 2023. So you can kind of get an idea of what they're going to look like. And then for finger applications on the eyes, you can see kind of the color and how that performs. But one of the great things about using these on the eyes or the face is, again, we're not really getting like fallout. These aren't messy powders. This gel powder formula here, it's really keeping all of the particles nicely compacted in the formula. So it is very easy to use and not messy. As we're looking at the blue strobe, you can see we have more of a soft pale blue. Think of like a sky blue. And then in this case, I can see a little bit of purple sometimes when the light hits. A little bit, it's kind of like a whitish pinkish shimmer that tops the blue. So when the light hits a certain way, that blue and the pink kind of mix to give you a little bit of that purple glint. But if you look at it up close, it's actually more like a very pale pink, like a white pink shimmer top coat on the blue satin. Now, as for the opal sequin, as I mentioned, I'm not huge on glitter highlights. I like them at times, but they're not my everyday go-to products. I usually really like to use them a lot on the eyes. So when I first saw this one, I was immediately thinking of something like the highlighters from Chanel last summer, like the mermaid highlighter and so forth, which were really much more chunky glitters. This is much more finely milled. And what I really like about this is we have more of a transparent base here. And the shimmer it's more finely milled, and it's actually not super dense. It's obviously densely packed in the product, but when you go to apply this with a brush, you really can get a very soft starlit effect. So this makes a great eyeshadow topper. You can use it on the eyes, but you can see if you really want to build up that shimmer, you want to go in with layers. So I love how easy it is to do this. You don't have to be, cautious picking this up in the first place. Once you start tapping it on with a finger or a brush, you're going to get a light sheer coat. And then if you want to build it, it's almost like you just have to keep layering onto it and the glitter kind of adheres to itself. So I think it's actually a really special highlight. And when I put this on the cheeks, you can see it's still not as glittery as I expected it to be. And obviously I could build it up even more if I really wanted a lot more glitter, but I think it's actually pretty versatile. So if you're somebody who uses a glitter topper for eyes a lot, I think this one is actually a really nice option for that because of how subtle it can get and how easily it applies and kind of shears out. So for my current look right now, I have on the Tom Ford Brazen Rose blush, and then I topped it with the pink halo highlight. And then for the eyes, I actually kind of used all of the highlighters. So the pink halo being more subtle, I thought was perfect for the brow bone. And I really like the way it just catches the light a little bit there, but you don't really see color. And then I used the two strobe, the pink strobe and the blue strobe on the eyes, and then kind of top them just a little bit with the opal sequin, just for a little bit of glitter and sparkle on there. And I think these highlighters, all of them are great to use on the eye. You could pair it with like a color eyeliner and just get kind of like a lightning brightening look. And I'm really happy with how these highlighters can be subtle or built up. So let's take a look at a few comparisons. So I want to start off with the highlighter I mentioned was one of my classic favorites. This they don't make anymore, but it is the Givenchy Teint Couture shimmer powder. And this was shade number 1, shimmery pink. And I love this. And this is the first thing that came to mind with pink halo. So I'm going to put the Givenchy right here. And you can see color-wise, they're pretty close. I would say the Givenchy is a little bit more metallic. You can see the finish is a little different. This is a little bit smoother and metallic, so we can see a little bit more shimmer with the Dior. Yeah, it's a little more subtle at the same time. I've been looking for a highlighter that kind of matches this for years. And until now, my closest was this Tom Ford in Rose Irisé. So these were the Tom Ford ones I was talking about. Let's go ahead and put this one right up here, that right next to the Givenchy. You can see the difference with this being a cooler, lighter tone pink. And let's actually put it right there so the light hits more similarly. So you can see compared to the Givenchy and the Dior, it's going to be lighter and cooler. It's a little bit more metallic like the Givenchy, but it has the shimmer that we have in the Dior. So, you know, I think they're both great products, and this is one of my go-tos. This is Grand Paradis from the same line of Dior highlighters. I don't really have a shade that matches this, but I just wanted to share this. It actually, to me, it looked like the Nude Glow shade might be similar to that one, but I did not purchase that. And then I want to take a look at a couple of Chanel highlighters. So as I mentioned, we've got some pretty glittery ones here. This is Lumière de l'Océan. And this one here is going to be more of a glitter. And you can see we have kind of a blue reflex. So it's kind of a mix of the blue strobe and the opal sequin, but the finish of it is much more like the opal sequin. You can see this one has finely milled glitter, but look at the difference in how scattered the Dior is compared to the density of the shimmer in the Chanel. So that does make a difference. I actually use this one a ton as eyeshadow. I don't use it on my face as often, but I definitely use it on the eyes, and it gives this really nice kind of a bluish pink shimmer when it's on my eyes. This one here is Diamond Dust from Chanel, and you can see we've got an overspray here. This is the part that I've been using. And this one has a bit more of a pink gold reflect. So let's compare this to the pink strobe. You can see this is going to be more of a golden ivory with a pink shift, whereas the pink strobe is more of that pink base with a golden flip. So we have more pink in the Dior. They're kind of like reverse shades. So I would have to say, though, the Dior is a little bit more subtle on the face than the Diamond Dust is. And just a couple more. This is Rose Atacama from Hermes. This is another favorite of mine. And I wanted to see how this one compared to the Halo Pink. You can see that this is going to be a little warmer and more ivory. There's a touch more beige in it, but they're pretty close in color. I would say these are pretty similar. The Hermes is slightly more powdery, a little bit less shimmer, but the colors are pretty close. I'd say if you already have Rose Atacama, then the pink halo is a little redundant. And then this is the newest highlighter, which is Or Rose. This color doesn't go at all with the ones that I picked up, but I wanted to show you how the finish compares. This is a much stronger metallic finish, and out of all of these, is closest to the strobe, but it doesn't have the duochrome shift that we have in the strobe highlights. So those are my comparisons. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Chanel lipsticks. All right, so let's take a look at the new Chanel Rouge Coco lipsticks. We have the double C logo on the top. On the bottom, we do have our information here, and then this is the packaging. Now, these are refillable. I purchased the full lipsticks. Refills were not yet available, but you can purchase the refills for these instead. Now, compared to the older packaging, it is identical on the outside. The only difference is that the new ones are refillable. The older ones are not. So this is one of the older shades here, and you can see this does not come out. So that's really our only difference. Otherwise, the packaging is identical. We do have the click closure, and let's go over the shades that I picked up. So this one here is 104. This is called Mademoiselle. So they do have the numbers on the bottom of the lipsticks, but the names are not on there. However, if you take out the refill, I'm not sure if you can see this with the shine, it does have the number and the name on the side of the refill. So just something to note there. So this is 104 Mademoiselle. And what I really like about this new line is the color range. So just something to note, there are some returning shades from the previous line, and I didn't pick up any shades that I previously had. I actually didn't have too many Rouge Cocos, but my essay did note that a few of her favorites that have returned are not exactly the same as the older shades. So I just wanted to share that in case you're like looking for something in particular. 122 Lido. This is what is on my lips right now. And I love this more fuchsia pink. So you can see that Mademoiselle is going to be a warm rusty rose. We've definitely got a little bit of a khaki brown mixed with a tea rose. Whereas Lido here is going to be more of a fuchsia pink with a little bit of warmth from a touch of red. But Lido is definitely a cool shade. And then we have 124 Marie. And I was really curious between Marie and I think the other one was Venice. They looked so similar to me in swatches, but Marie is slightly cooler than Venice, and Venice has some shimmer. So if you're interested in one of those, that might be a good determining factor there, but they looked pretty close. So this here is Marie. I wouldn't say it's overly cool. I would say it's neutral, leaning a little cool. But this one is going to be more of a medium rose. And again, we do have a little bit of warmth. There's perhaps a slight touch of rust in here, but it's very faint. It just warms it up a little bit, making it not too cool. 128 Legend. So this is your Legend shade, and this is going to be more of a softer baby pink. This one's neutral with a little bit of warmth to it. Think of like a deeper ballet pink. Mixed with carnation pink, and I have to say I really like this one. So this one, we have some warmth in it, but not a lot. So I think it's a pretty well balanced shade. 132 Miami. This is one of my favorites. I've been wearing this one a ton. I almost wore it again today, but I figure I should wear something a little different. However, I do have a wear test with this one, and you can see that this is going to be a softer pink. It's kind of a medium depth pink. This one definitely has cooler undertones, and you can't really see purple in there, but there's a little bit of purple mixed into this pink, giving it that coolness to it. So I think it's a really beautiful shade, and it's probably my favorite out of the ones I picked up. So you'll see in the wear test, I actually had it on for 6 hours before I filmed this. So you can see what it looks like after a while. So this is 134, and this is called Edinburgh. And this is a really beautiful neutral nude shade with a touch of rose. So this is more of your nude rose. And I would say that it's definitely cooler in tone than Mademoiselle. There's a touch of mauve in here. So if you have warmer undertones than I do, then you're going to end up seeing just a hint of more of a purpley mauve hue to it than what comes across on my skin. 136 Flying Cloud. Really love this shade. And I actually had this on in I think it was the Victoria Beckham video that I just posted. So you can see here what this one looks like. This is going to be kind of a deeper cocoa with a touch of red and mauve in there. And I think it's a really beautiful shade. Great for fall, but it's also just, a great deeper neutral shade. So I think it's a really pretty nude. And then we have 140 Rotund. And this is the deepest shade that I got. Let me twist that up a little more. And you can see this is going to be more of a burgundy mixed with a touch of berry. So it's going to be a cooler burgundy. We do have cool undertones in here. And I think it's just such a stunning shade. This is a beautiful statement lip color. Let's take a look at these on the lips and we'll talk a little bit about the formula. The Rouge Coco lipsticks have 3.5 grams of product, an 18-month shelf life, and they're made in France. The full-size lipsticks retail for $50 US each. Now, if you're familiar with the previous Rouge Coco formula, you know, that's the formula that we had such classic shades like Adrienne in, and it's a really beautiful satin lipstick formula, not incredibly long wearing, but very comfortable on the lips, and they had a really great shade range that they used over the years. And we haven't really seen new shades in here for, I don't know, it's probably 2 or 3 years now. So I have to say, I think the new formula is an upgrade. It's going to still feel very similar on the lips to the older Rouge Cocos. However, these have slightly more grip and a little bit longer staying period. One of the things that you'll see in the wear test is that as the color kind of leaves and your finish kind of leaves, you're left with a little bit of a stain. But what's nice about the stain is it's evenly dispersed. So you could, you know, you don't even have to top it off with a lip balm to kind of spread anything out. So that's kind of a nice touch on here. Overall, I wouldn't say these are incredibly long wearing satins, but I do get an extra hour or so out of them than I did with the previous formula. So texturally, I would say that they feel almost the same as the previous Rouge Cocos, but perhaps a little bit more grip, a little bit less slip to them. In comparison to the Rouge Allure lipsticks from Chanel, the Rouge Allure lipsticks feel a little bit thinner, and they also have a little bit more slip or glide to them. Whereas these they're a little bit more of a thicker formula. They're not thick at all. They're, I would say, medium weight, but they feel more like a melted cream with a touch of vinyl in there. You can feel when you rub your lips together, you can feel a little bit of that elasticity from a vinyl texture, which you could also feel in the previous Rouge Coco lipsticks, and you feel to a lesser extent in the Rouge Allure lipsticks. A lot of the lipsticks we've seen recently have had a lot of that silicone texture or more of an oilier texture to them. What I really like about these is they feel much more like some older formulas where we have more of a cream texture to them, and there's a little bit more grip on the lip. So it's not something that feels like it's going to migrate or anything like that on the lips. Now, I do want to mention that these are definitely not in any way transfer proof. So when you are wearing this lipstick while eating, it will come off. So just something to note, these are definitely not going to hold up to any sort of food or beverage tests. So let's take a look at the swatches. Again, we'll take a look at a couple comparisons, but I do want to note that over here we have Marie and we have Legende. And Legende technically has a little bit of shimmer in it, and Marie doesn't. You can see up close, you don't really notice a difference. None of the ones with shimmer are going to have much like glitter or anything in there. You can really just see a very faint touch of light reflection with it. Honestly, I can't really tell a difference with them on the lips. You know, it's so subtle. So with the swatches, again, we have 104 Mademoiselle, 122 Lido, 124 Marie. This is going to be 128 Legende, 132 Miami, 134 Edinburgh, 136 Flying Cloud, and 140 Rotund. So you can see, even though some may have a touch of shimmer, nothing looks glittery or even shimmery on the lips. Let me just show you Legende up close. You can see in the bullet a little touch of shimmer in there. This is what it looks like all around. And then let me just show you Marie. So here's Marie without shimmer in the bullet. And you can see, even looking at it all the way around, it's going to look very similar. So there's not a huge difference. Now, one of the things I just want to applaud Chanel for before we move on is the color range here. Now, I am still looking for some softer, cooler nude shades, but we've got some lighter, cooler tone shades that, you know, typically we see deep, cool shades from Chanel. Like our cool shades are usually reds or bright pinks. And then the lighter shades are typically all warm. And you can see we do have a better balance of cool and warm shades in different depths. So I'm really happy with that. I'd love to see them expand this range. And overall, I'm really enjoying these. So I only have a few Rouge Coco shades, but I did want to share them. We have 494 Attraction. This came out several years back, and it was a really deep shade here. You can see this is going to be much more of an eggplant purple with a touch of red in it. But that was kind of, when I was looking at swatches to decide which one to pick up, that's what it kind of made me think of with Rotund. This is 402 Adrienne. And let's go ahead. You can see how light this is. And I feel like that's what we're missing, are shades this light in the spectrum. I haven't, at least none of the ones that I ended up picking up are quite this light. We have a little bit more sheerness to this. So I am hoping that they add more shades like that. But I'd love to see a cooler version. And then 496 Tendresse, which was one of the ones that I really wore a lot. You can see this is going to be a warmer pink. I would say it's not really super close to either of these, but it's closest here to, this is going to be Marie and Legende, and it's almost like a mix of the two. All right, and I just wanted to go through a few shades of some more recent Chanel lipsticks. So this is the Rouge Allure Velvet in 6 o'clock. And let's see here, we're gonna put this one over here. You can see, first of all, not only is it a matte finish, but it's almost a mix of Rotund and Edinburgh. So it's kind of like those two were mixed up. It's lighter than Rotund and not quite as berry or cool tone. And this is definitely going to be a warmer tone comparatively. And then from holiday this year, this is 917 in the Rouge Allure L'Extrait in Rose Boreal. So this is a shimmery shade, but I wanted to see how the undertone of this compared to Miami. But you can see that the undertone here actually, in Rose Boreal, we actually have a warm rose base with cool pink shimmer on it. Whereas our base for Marie, well, the whole Miami shade is going to be a cooler tone. So it's almost more like a lighter version of just the shimmer portion of the Rose Boreal. And then just a couple of the new Rouge Allure Velvets from this year. This is 459. This is Lumineuse. And this is one of my personal favorites. These are going to be more of a sheer balmy texture that you have to kind of build up. So this shade is more like a light sheer version of Edinburgh. I would say they're pretty close shade-wise, but the formula is so different, they're going to look pretty drastically different on the lips. And then we also have, from that same collection, 467 Précieuse. And let's go ahead and we'll put that one here. This is going to be a brighter pink. And let's squeeze that in right here. You can see that is going to be closer to Miami, but it's a little bit of a brighter pink and a little bit cooler in tone than Miami. Now, in terms of comparisons with other brands, I have to say, formula-wise, the closest formula match to me are going to be the Tom Ford lipsticks. So just for a quick comparison, this is 69 Night Mauve, and we'll just put this one here. But texturally on the lips, I would say this is the closest formula. You can see that Night Mauve doesn't quite match up with any of these shades that I have here. This is kind of like a warmer pink with a touch of mauve in it. And I know somebody's going to ask me about the Dior and how they compare. And I would have to say texturally, these are a little bit drier and grippier. There's not as much of that cream texture. These are also a little bit thinner. I love both formulas, so I can't say at this point that I have a preference. This is 277 Osé. And we'll just put this here. One of the great things though about the Dior are they have a larger color range, and you can get shades that really start off much more sheer as well. So this is kind of like a warmer version of Miami, a cooler version though than Legende, kind of in between those two. So those would be my best comparisons for the new Chanel Rouge Coco lipsticks, and I hope this was helpful. Let's just quickly summarize what we looked at today. We started off with the new Dior highlighters, and we have 3 different finishes: Halo, Strobe, and Sequin. So I just swatched them again quickly here. This was Pink Halo, and you can see that this is going to be more of a satin, more subtle finish than the others. It's more of a subtle metallic satin. And then there are strobe finishes here. This is pink strobe and blue strobe. These are going to have a bit more of a color shift. They are an iridescent duochrome. Otherwise, the finish is going to be similar to the halo finish. It's just it doesn't have the color shift. And then this one here is opal sequin, which you can see is going to be a glitter finish. And these actually make really nice topper shades for eyeshadows. I have to say, I really enjoy this new line of Dior highlighters. I know I'm going to be using these regularly. I'm very happy with not only the shade selection and the fact that they have 7 different shades. I love the fact that there are 3 different finishes and they're clearly distinguished. You can tell from the labeling and the names as well. So you're not like guessing based off of a picture you might have seen online. So very happy with those. And yeah, I can't wait to see if they actually make refills to go into our refillable packaging, but we'll see. Then we took a look at the new Chanel Rouge Coco lipsticks. Again, these are currently available in boutiques, but they will be online in March. And this is a permanent line. So we have 20 shades currently in the line. I'd love to see them expand this line even more, but I do think that the new formula is a great update to the previous one, and we do now have refillable packaging for these as well. So I'm really loving them. I think they did a nice job balancing the shade range, but I would still like to see some more lighter, cooler shades. And some of the lighter shades I'd love to see are a little bit more of a sheer finish that can be built up. So one more time with the shades, we have 104 Mademoiselle, 122 Lido, 124 Marie. This is 128 Legende, 132 Miami, 134 Edinburgh, 136 Flying Cloud, and 140 Rotonde. So I hope this has been helpful. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you very soon. Have a wonderful day.